the teacher can only explain a concept from their level of understanding. Meanwhile, the student can only understand from theirs. So, in the context of Jesus, everyone has no problem admitting that Jesus was an enlightened person, and he had arcane and profound wisdom. And oftentimes, the things that he said can be interpreted a number of ways, and that's because we, as the listeners or readers, as the case is, we are not in the mind of Jesus, so we don't know whether or not he meant this thing or that thing, and he's not here for us to ask. So it's really hard for us to really grasp that. And so, oftentimes people talk about the mind of God, or, in the same terms as like the mind of Jesus is the mind of God and what have you. So, and then oftentimes people will also say, well, we can't fully comprehend the mind of God because they are so much bigger than us, or more, or Jesus is enlightened, so we can't possibly understand things on the level that he does. And that's a fairly common thread throughout holy texts, is that we have a Messiah type character who has what we consider a more expanded mind and more insight and everything into the nature of reality, and what they have to say about God, or what have you. And so what is it to be enlightened? I consider the ego dissolution or ego death in terms of psychedelics as a potential window into what it is to be enlightened. And so I really think that these holy books are essentially an enlightened person, or someone who has had this ego dissolution experience, trying to explain it to someone, and then that person either writing it down or trying to explain it to another person who wrote it down, because we know that most of these books were not actually penned by the messiahs that are featured in them. A lot of these things, I think, are lost in translation from the original intention of what the Messiah was saying.